Hi, my name is Paul Karasik. I'm president of the Wholesaler Institute, and welcome to the Leadership Minute. The purpose of these short videos is to help you to become better leaders, to address the issues that you're currently facing, and to help you specifically to deal with the current pandemic and its effect on our business. So, in March, when the initial quarantine was set up, I happened to be away on a 3-week vacation at a health and fitness spa. I returned home to Manhattan Beach to find that life had changed radically in a very negative way. I lost a lot. I lost security, I lost control, I lost the ability to talk to friends and people that I knew personally didn't want to come and visit me. We lost a lot of business was canceled. I lost freedom. The ability to go out and go onto the beach and walk around and enjoy my life. And I was going through a lot of emotional upset through this loss, anger, resentment, all kinds of emotions. And I realized that it was very similar to what the well-known author Elisabeth Kübler-Ross wrote about in her book on death and dying. She described very specifically the 5 stages of grief. And I realized those were the emotions I was actually feeling when I returned home to the quarantine. These negative emotions she described as stages, although they can be experienced in a nonlinear form and they can be experienced all together. They are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And I went through them all. A lot of anger, resentments, and realized that for me to be able to be effective as a leader, I was going to have to get control of myself. And this came to fore in another story related to Elisabeth Kübler-Ross. When I was in Maui, Hawaii, some years ago, when Elisabeth Kübler-Ross was still around, she was doing workshops helping healthcare workers. And I happened to meet somebody and became friends with a nurse on Maui, and she was taking a workshop with Elisabeth Kübler-Ross. And I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. I wonder what she's sharing with these healthcare workers on how to help people who are going through the death process. That was the topic of the particular workshop she was giving. It was a week-long workshop. So I asked my friend, I said, what was it like to do a workshop, how to lead people through the grieving process? And she said, well, every day we'd come in the morning and Elisabeth would hand us a stack of telephone books that were tied together, and we were handed a piece of hose. And then we were told to beat the telephone books merciless for hours on end. You see, Elisabeth Kübler-Ross knew that we cannot be present for people who are dying unless we ourselves are present with ourselves, unless we're clear, in effect, unless we have rid ourselves of those ways that get in the way of us being present for other people, our own stuff, our own emotions, our own anger, our own resentments. And so by physically working out our own resentments, she was saying, then you become in a position to help others. When we're on an airplane, we're always told, we hear the announcement, if there's a loss of cabin pressure, an oxygen mask will come down, put it on yourself first. So we know that in order to take care of the people that we lead, we have to take care of ourselves first. Now, the physical stuff, the payments, the salary, the hiring, the firing, that's stuff that most people on this call as leaders, you know real well. And I'll address some specifics on this, but I want to talk more specifically right now about what we can do personally to get clear of those negative emotions that we don't know what's going to happen next in this pandemic. We don't know if someone we know is going to get it and in fact be in critical condition as a result of that. We don't know so much. The only thing that we do know and the only thing that we do have control over is ourselves. And so it's important in these times right now to really take control of ourselves. And I'm talking about internally and our peace of mind. So I'm going to suggest to you a couple of things that will help us both on the personal and the professional level. First, professionally. It's important to call each one of your team members and talk to them, and most importantly, listen to them. Ask them how they feel. Ask them about their emotions, about what they need to clear, how they feel. You see, we always say, or I always say in our courses, sales are made for emotional reasons and justified with logic. Well, it's the same with leadership. Leadership is determined by emotions and justified with logic. So you can give people a great logical plan, but if they're not emotionally committed to performing it, implementing it, then as a leader, your effectiveness is nothing. So what can we do to help those folks who are on your team? You can ask them, what are you doing right now to stay positive, to find that internal rock, that place of peace and power that you have inside, that you go to? What are you doing now more than ever to find that place, to intensify that place, to access that place? Also on these calls, be sure to talk about the element of, in our programs, we talk about entrainment, talking about what are they entraining to. In other words, are they entraining to negativity, negative people, negative thoughts, negative news, watching media all day? Suggest for yourself and for them that by associating with negativity all day, it's very hard to be positive. So encourage them to address the areas of their life that have changed, that need to be addressed to maintain good life structures. What are those life structures? That's our spiritual, our mental, our emotional, our physical, and our material lives. That's our life structure. So how are they keeping their relationships in order? How are you keeping your relationships in order? Digitally, on Zoom and on FaceTime. How are you keeping your mind clear and active in times when we can't be, when it's much more difficult? How are you getting exercise? And these are all topics that I'll be talking about in the next videos that we'll be doing on in the Leadership Minute. Finally, I want to leave you with one tip, and it's a tip, and it's a tip to read a book. The book is a very powerful book. It influenced me, it influenced a lot of people I know, and it's a book about how to find that inner rock. And the book is called The Power of Now, and it's by Eckhart Tolle. Many of you have read it, I know, and many of you practice what Eckhart Tolle teaches in his book, The Power of Now. It's a groundbreaking book. If you've never done meditation or presence, he calls it actually. I don't think he actually says meditation, but being present with yourself. It's an amazing book. You'll actually be able to do it just by reading the book. It was a New York Times bestseller for a year or two. It was on Oprah for two or three times. So I encourage you to read that book. Find your center. Be exclusive. Don't allow negativity to seep in right now. And you'll find the rock, and you'll find that place, and you'll be able to be a better leader. Look forward to sharing with you more tips in the Leadership Minute coming up in the next weeks. In the meantime, if anybody has anything they'd like to talk about with me personally, I'd love to do that. If you need coaching, we offer coaching to leaders. And if you're interested in finding out more about that, how it works, and how I can help you and your team in these times, please just give us a call or send an email, and we'll set up a time to speak. In the meantime, find that rock, be exclusive, take care of your life structures. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.